Hello.
Welcome back to Tutoritza, and welcome to the ultimate guide to farming with villagers in Medieval Dynasty. I'm going to go through everything you need to know and some tips and tricks. It's one of the most complicated subjects in the game, but I hope it proves useful to you. Let's get on with it. The first thing that I think is very useful to know and really internalize is that farming is completely different than every other job in the entire game. A lot of the things you might have learned about how other jobs work do not apply to farmers working in fields or orchards. For example, the building itself, the farm shed, does nothing. The only thing you can do in a farm shed is assign people to a worker slot. Unlike workers for every other job in the game, if you see a farmer walking around, they are actually just walking around. They are not doing anything useful. For most other jobs, distance does not matter at all. Whereas your farmers, if you see them doing anything but actually working in the field, they are not producing anything. Another thing that's totally different is mood makes no difference at all. For other jobs, they will produce more if they have a higher mood. For farmers, this is not the case. They just do what they do, and mood is completely irrelevant. And last but not least, your skills don't matter. There are skills that affect farming. For example, skilled farmer, which at level 3 gives you a 100% chance to harvest additional crops in the fields. This does not apply to your farmers. The other skill that also makes no difference is inspiring speech. It gives your villagers a 15% boost to production. This also does not apply at all to farmers. To get ready for farming with villagers, you want to do a few things. You don't have to do them in this order. You don't have to do them the way I'm doing them, but this gives you a good step-by-step on how it works. So first of all, you want to build a farm shed. Then you want to lay out fields. You might want to plant orchards. And then for the fields you've laid out, you want to define crops. You want to make sure that the tools that your farmers are going to need are in the resource storage or in the farm shed toolbox. You want to make sure that you have fertilizer and seeds, and then you want to assign villagers. If you want to know a lot of the basic details of farming, check out my previous tutorial, which is about doing it yourself. So the first thing you probably want to do is build a farm shed. So we open up buildings, farming, farm shed, it's at the top. And if you want it to be lined up with your fields, you want at the top in the compass to be pointing at a cardinal direction. So there we are with that. We switch our hammer to build mode and build our farm shed, which is pretty simple. It doesn't require too many materials, and they're low-level materials. So we've got a farm shed. Let's put down some fields. Go to buildings, farming, over on the right, field. If you want, you can line them up with things. Go from the corner and go straight over. In this case, we're going to do 2 1x10 fields. This is just random, really. It doesn't really matter how big they are, but you should know that smaller fields are more efficient. The maximum size field, 16x16, is as inefficient as possible. You can build them. It just will take your farmers a lot longer to finish them. So we've got 2 1x10 fields right next to each other. And we'll leave them like this. It used to be that you had to grub up the fields yourself, but now your farmers will do it if the fields have crops defined. So let's define some crops. We have field 1 and 2, and field 1, we're going to go over to spring, and then we're going to hit Y or click the change plant type button. And you see this chart. In spring, you can sow lots of things. You see that the sowing is the brown. So let's go and put flax in one field. You do that basically by clicking and dragging or pushing down on the select button. It says down the bottom, manage assignment, and then just dragging across. So that's spring defined. And we see that it is brown. And we see up the top that brown means sowing. So they are sowing flax in spring. If we go to summer, we see that it's yellow. All of that flax is yellow, which means it's ready to harvest. So because they can harvest it, we can also then put in another crop, which can be sown. And as we do that, we see it splits it diagonally. So it's got yellow harvesting flax and brown sowing cabbage in summer. And then if we go to autumn, we see it's yellow for harvesting cabbage. And in autumn, we can only sow wheat, which is a garbage crop because it rotates very badly with all other crops, and rye. So rye rotates well with other crops. So we'll put that in, and now we see it's split between cabbage and rye. And then if we look at spring, we see spring is now also split because it will be harvesting rye, the yellow, and sowing flax, the brown. We can also change the name. If you look down the bottom under the map, there is a control for changing the name. I like to change the name to something that reminds me what is being sown and harvested in this field. So in this case, I'm going to call it FCR, which is flax cabbage rye. Flax cabbage rye is a really, really standard crop rotation in this game. So we have field 1 is FCR. Field 2, I'm going to go ahead and name it already because I know what I'm going to put in it. I'm going to call this one OR because oats rye is probably the second most common rotation. So if we go to spring and change the plant type to oats, we see that oats sow in spring. And then in summer, it's growing, which means we can't do anything with it. We can't harvest, we can't sow anything else. It spends one season growing, and then in autumn, it's yellow, so we can harvest it, which means that we can sow rye. Oats rye is a really common rotation because it's what you need to make animal feed. So we've got our two fields defined. What we need now is 10 flax seed and 10 oat grain to make sure that we have what the farmers need. So if we go down to our resource storage and have a look inside, we can grab things that our farmers will need. We have two 1x10 fields, so we need 20 fertilizer. We have a flax field, which is 10 plots, so we need 10 flaxseed. And we have an oat field, which is also 10 plots, so 10 oat grain. Then if we go over to tools, what they will need for spreading fertilizer and seed is a bag or a simple bag. They'll need a hoe to plow and grub up. And they'll need, next season, a scythe or a sickle to harvest. You want to have multiples of these because they will break over time. Note that tool quality makes no difference to how fast they work or how much they harvest. Better quality tools last longer, but that's it. Also good to know, more than one of a particular kind of tool in there, they will always choose the worst one first. So a wooden hoe is much worse than a bronze hoe. They will take the wooden hoe first. When it breaks, they'll start using the bronze hoe. So we've got the basics that they need. And we can put all of those things in the chest in the farm shed. We don't need to do it this way. I'm doing it purely for demonstration purposes so that we can see we have the tools we need, one of each, and we have fertilizer and seed and grain that we need. Your villagers will pull what they need while they're working from the resource storage. If you put it in the farm shed, only people assigned to the farm shed can access it. A good thing to note is that the distance from the fields to the resource storage makes no difference to anything. Villagers can access the resource storage from anywhere on the map, and they do not actually walk to the resource storage to get the tools they need, so they won't be wasting time when they should be farming. So we have a farm shed, we have fields, we have crops to find, we have resources and tools accessible to the farmers. All we have to do now is assign a farmer. So let's go to management, go to the farming category and the farm shed. This is the new farm shed that I built, and we're going to put one person in it. We're going to put in Bogdala. It will take a minute for her to come over from wherever she is. But when she comes over, we'll see that she goes to the farm shed, she'll touch the box, change her clothes, and get to work. And because these are brand new fields, she will start grubbing the field up. Bogdala is working alone, so she will go through this one field and grub the entire thing up. When she's finished grubbing it up, the stakes will disappear and she will go back to the northwesternmost corner of the field. She'll switch tools and she will now start fertilizing. Note that your farmers will always start with the field closest to the farm shed and then move on to fields that are further away. And they will complete one field entirely before they move on to the next field, unless they are harvesting. This is an important thing to know. When we get to the harvest, they will harvest everything that can be harvested anywhere before they do anything else. So when she's finished fertilizing the field, she will turn around, go back to the northwesternmost corner and switch to a hoe and start plowing the field, essentially digging up and stirring the fertilizer into the ground. And when she's finished plowing, she'll go back to the northwesternmost corner of the field and switch to a bag again and start sowing seed. It's getting late in the day, so we're going to kick her out of the farm shed. Goodbye, Bogdala. And we're going to come back tomorrow and we'll see how two people work on one field. So it's the next day. It's a rainy day. We're going to go to the farm shed. We're going to put Bogdala back in. And we're going to put Misoslav in there with her. And we can see Bogdala come over, touch the box, change her clothes, and she will go to the northwest corner and start working. And here comes Misoslav. He also will go over and touch the box, change his clothes, and he's going to follow her. So when you have multiple farmers working on one field, one of them, in this case, she's grubbing it up, and he is following her and fertilizing. And when she finishes grubbing up the field, the stakes disappear, and she goes back to where she started. Because he is fertilizing, she will now start plowing the plots that he has already fertilized. When he finishes fertilizing, he goes back to the farm shed because he has nothing to do to start with. But then he immediately goes over and he will start sowing. The reason he didn't have anything to do is that she wasn't finished plowing the very first plot. But as soon as she's finished, he will start following her and sowing behind her. So now, sowing is the last thing they need to do. So Bogdala has already gone back over to the farm shed, and now Misoslav has gone over there, and they have nothing to do. So they're done for this season, and they will just hang out in the farm shed and sweep and chill out in the farm shed. So those two fields are done for this season. So let's go to next season, summer. So it is summer, and if we come over to our fields and have a look, we can see that our flax is grown. It's ready for harvesting. Our oats are still growing. It will show you, on one it says required sickle scythe. On the other one it doesn't. That just means this can be harvested, this cannot be harvested. Note that all workers in your village will work from 8 in the morning until 6 in the evening. You can easily know when it's time to start and stop work. If you build a bell tower, it will ring at 8 in the morning and at 6 in the evening. For summer, we're going to add 2 more people, just that we see how it works with 4 people farming at once. So one by one, our 4 farmers will come over, touch the box, change their clothes, and get to work. First of all, I think is Bogdala. She goes down to the end of the field where she started last time and starts harvesting. There's a guy in the farm shed and he's sweeping. That's because she hasn't done enough yet that he can get started. But he will eventually realize that she has done what she needs to do, and he will go down and start fertilizing behind her. Well, he didn't realize, but one of the farmers has started fertilizing behind her. Once he's fertilizing, someone else will start plowing behind him. And there he goes. So we have someone harvesting, we have someone fertilizing, we have a guy behind him plowing with the hoe, and as soon as he's done a bit, the 4th farmer should realize and go and start sowing seed. Well, not quite. Generally, for a field this small, 3 people are getting all of the tasks done before a 4th person can join them. When you have lots of fields and a lot more plots than this, they will spread out across multiple fields and be doing things all the time until they've finished everything. The other thing that's really good to know is they will harvest everything everywhere before they do anything else. So if I had 300 field plots and I had a bunch of orchards, they would be running around harvesting everything. They would not start fertilizing or plowing or sowing seed until the harvest was finished. So hardworking Bogdala has now finished sowing this field. You'll notice that they have not touched the second field at all. That's easy to explain. If we look in management and go to the fields, the FCR field has, in spring, it has something being sown, in summer it has something being sown, and in autumn it has something being sown. But the oats rye field in spring is sowing oats, which they did, but in summer the oats are growing. That means nothing else needs to or can be done in that field. When it gets to autumn, they will harvest oats, just like we saw them harvest the flax, and then they will sow rye. When you see your farmers standing around the farm shed sweeping or just generally hanging out, it doesn't mean they're lazy, it means they have a problem. When your farmers have a problem, you'll see this icon in the top left. The best way to decipher this is to open up management, and if you go to the farm shed, you'll see it says up there, no resources. And then down the bottom, Bogdala and Medarika both have a red icon. This is a little unclear, and it's a bit different than every other workplace. If you then go to the workers that have a problem, you'll see they also have the red bag icon there, and if you open them up, it'll tell you exactly what it is. In other workplaces, it tells you in the workplace what the problem is. For farmers, you usually need to go and look at the farmer themselves. So she is missing fertilizer, and all you need to do is go to your resource storage or the chest in the farm shed and put in what it is they need. The icon at the top right will go away. It can take a minute. Be patient. Farmers seem to notice you solving their problems slower than other workers, but that icon will go away. And if you see your farmers chilling in the farm shed and there are no red icons on the building list or the workers list, your fields are probably just finished. You can check this by opening up management, going to fields, and every field where you see the green and black numbers not in the same column, that is a field that is not finished. If they're all in the same column, then your fields are finished. Because farming is different than every other job in the game, and farmers are not working when they are walking, it's not a bad idea to build your houses for farmers and your hangout area for farmers near the fields. So I've got fields on the other side of this stone wall. I've got the farmers' houses over here, and I've got a hangout area for them right here. So what happens in the morning, they get up at 7 in the morning, just like you do. They will come out of their houses. They will hang around nearby, hopefully sit down. At 8, they'll walk over here to the farm shed. They'll touch the farm shed, and then they'll walk through this gap in my stone wall to get to the fields. The tip is you want to have your farmers' houses near the farm shed they are assigned to, have a hangout area somewhere between the houses and the farm shed, and have the farm shed near the fields. I hope this has helped you get started with farming with villagers. I hope you are enjoying your medieval dynasty. If you learned something in this video, please give it a like and give the channel a sub to keep up with my ongoing series of tutorials and my beginner-friendly Let's Play. I will see you in the next tutorial back in Tutoritza.
Goodbye.